So I know this situation every single videographer has been in. You just finished a great new big project and it's hot off of your editing render queue and you've sent it out to the client only to have them send back a laundry list of edits that need to be done before you can actually get the final product out. So that's going to be fine if it maybe only requires a few edits, but eventually you'll run into a project where you just start surfing through email chains, different project management solutions, and various other ways of the client getting you back different notes. So we're living in the golden age of cheap cloud solutions with things like Dropbox, Google Drive, and WeTransfer, all allowing you to send your deliverable files straight to the client without breaking the bank. Now with videography as a service, you and I know there's far more collaboration involved than with other projects. And while solutions like Office 365 and Google Drive are perfect in an office environment, allowing you to edit collaboratively, they don't work very well for videographers. Frame.io is a cloud storage solution and interface specifically designed for videographers to work in a collaborative environment with other videographers and their clients. It does this in a number of amazing ways that allow you to speed up your editing workflow and get out that final video delivered faster. I'll quickly talk about the top 5 features that Frame.io offers, unlike any other online cloud storage solution you've used, and how it's going to change the way you do your editing. But before I go through them, look in the description below and click on that promo link to get 1 month free of Frame.io and test it out for yourself. So number 1 are timestamped comments. I wish all of my clients would just send me edits in a timestamp format so I know exactly what they're talking about and exactly where they're talking about it. Frame.io actually allows you to comment at specific time points in the video. You can actually sync the comments that they add at specific time points into your video when they view it online straight into your editor so you can see exactly what edits need to be done. This saves you an insane amount of time knowing exactly where the edits need to be, adding all those markers straight into your editor without you having to do anything. And it supports all the major editing solutions like Adobe Premiere, Final Cut, and recently DaVinci Resolve 16. Number 2, allowing you to draw over specific frames in the video to point out things that need to be changed. I can't tell you how many times a client sends me an email pointing out something specific, but they don't actually point out where it is, or they just mention it and it's too broad for me to even locate it, and I end up playing a game of I Spy in my editing program to try and figure out just what they're talking about. Giving clients the ability to highlight specifically what they're talking about by drawing over the actual frame makes it so much easier on them to point out what they want to change, and it makes it so much easier on me to figure out exactly what they're talking about. Number 3 is the speed and flexibility options. Being a program that's specifically aimed at videographers, this allows me to upload files in ProRes, DNxHR, or other professional level intermediary formats. And also in addition to that, it's considerably faster than other competing cloud solutions at uploading and downloading. And specifically, the biggest thing I notice is transcoding. Whenever I deliver my files via Google Drive out to clients, for instance, they're sometimes sitting there getting a message that says, "We're processing your video, come check back later." With Frame.io, that whole portion of it is considerably sped up and takes much less time. That way I don't get a bunch of confusing emails wondering where their video file is. Number 4 is the sheer amount of sub-organizational options that you have with Frame.io. Kind of expanding back on number 1, where you have time-stamped comments that sync back and forth to your editing program, you can also do things like hashtags and callouts inside Frame.io, where you have a big, team who's all working on the same video, either inside or outside of your organization. And you can do callouts specifically to them to review separate sections of the video, or you can even do things like hashtags where you can categorize each portion of the video. Say you have a video where you have multiple cuts and you want to categorize each one. In other cloud solutions, the only real way to do this would be to name each file name and search them up by that file name. With something like Frame.io, you can categorize each separate video with separate hashtags and build out those categories so that people can easily find what they're looking for. And finally, number 5, I find that I'm wasting so much time when I need to show different versions, for instance, to clients, or they need to actually get on board with a separate folder that I've sent them in a link, or they don't even see the difference between the new version that I've actually sent them. For instance, you can compare your video side by side to a separate video. Say you have 2 different color grades, or you can do a side-by-side comparison between a new and an old version. There's even small things that I take for granted after integrating Frame.io into my post-production workflow. Things like folder thumbnails actually showing what content is inside of them, Or for instance, being able to scrub through a video without actually having to queue it up, so I don't need to waste time going through separate versions over and over again to see which separate file is even the right one. And even just the way that Frame.io integrates with things outside of itself is amazing. I love that when a user uploads into a folder, I can set it to send me a Slack notification immediately so I know who's adding what or who's commented to what. Or when I upload a video into a folder, it sends them an email notification so I don't have to send them a text that the video's up or an email afterwards. So that's really all there is to it. I recommend figuring out the next project you need to deliver to your client. Use Frame.io as the middleman and upload it onto there and just see how it changes your post-production process. Download, one of the plugins for your editing program, whether it's Adobe Premiere, Final Cut, DaVinci Resolve 16 actually now has native integration. And I'm honestly surprised that more media professionals aren't talking about this solution. It seems like something that would vastly decrease the amount of headaches and time spent in the editing station, whether you're working on a video, photo, or audio, that comes with like email chains and mistranslations and proprietary project management solutions, back and forth discussion about what your client wants you to do to the video to get that final version out. But hopefully this video changed your opinion on it, and go check it out.